This episode of After the Quiet contains personal experiences and discussions related to coercive control, emotional abuse, infidelity, pregnancy, abortion, and mental health struggles. Some content may be distressing or triggering for listeners. Hi, and welcome back to episode 61 of After the Quiet. Today's episode is one of the hardest for me to talk about because this was the moment when everything became even more complicated, more painful, more surreal. I will never forget the message. It came through Facebook Messenger. And when I opened it, there was a photo of a positive pregnancy test. And underneath it, the words, "It's your husband's child." I remember just staring at my phone, frozen. Because how do you even process something like that? At that point, I was already drowning emotionally. We had spent the summer separated. He had cheated. He had manipulated me. We were in counseling. Our house had sold. And somehow, we were still trying to decide whether or not to stay together. And now this. When he found out she had messaged me, he was furious. Not because of what he had done, not because of the pain he caused, but because she had spoken to me. And suddenly, his story changed. Now he claimed he didn't even know if the baby was his, that she probably slept around. And listening to him say those things, I remember feeling sick. Because despite everything I was going through, I actually felt bad for her. And I know that might sound strange to some people, but I did. Because he had sold her a story too. He told her we were separating. He spent the entire summer with her. She had spent time with him and my children. He took her on romantic trips. He created this perfect image for her. A future. A fantasy. And then suddenly, summer ended. He went crying to my mom. Our house sold. And he decided to move back into family life with me. He left her behind. And while he was telling me he wanted to fix our marriage, he was still messaging her, still stringing her along, still lying to her too. And that's when I started realizing something important. He wasn't just lying to me. He lied to everyone. Every person in his life was getting a different version of the story. And the more her and I talked, the more the truth started coming together, which made him angry, really angry, because suddenly he couldn't control the narrative anymore. She told me things he had said. I told her things he had told me, and none of it matched. And at one point, he started telling her that if the baby was his, he wanted custody, and that he wanted me to raise the baby alongside our children. Even now, saying that out loud feels insane. Nothing he was saying made sense anymore. And I think deep down, I knew that. But I still didn't tell anyone. Not my family, not my friends, no one. Because I was embarrassed. I had just lived through the worst summer of my life. And now, after deciding to try and fix things, what would people think? I thought it would make me look weak, stupid, pathetic. And looking back now, that silence hurt me more than anything. Because had I told someone, maybe they would have helped me leave. Maybe someone would have looked at me and said, "What are you doing? Why are you allowing this? This is not okay." But instead, I carried it alone. School started again, and like so many women do, I shifted into survival mode. I focused on teaching, the kids, schedules, lunches, activities. I tried to compartmentalize the chaos. And then came our eldest son's birthday. That day, I took the boys to Taekwondo for their belt grading. And he wasn't there. Because he had taken her to get an abortion. And the next day, she called him, crying, upset, in pain. And he left our house to spend the day comforting her at her mother's house. And I remember sitting there thinking, what is my life? Nothing felt real anymore. Everything was chaos. Everything was unstable. And I had completely lost control over my own life. And then, in the middle of it all, something happened that shifted my focus completely. A health scare. And suddenly, I stopped worrying about him, about her, about the affair, about fixing the marriage. Because for the first time, I had to focus on me. And that's where we're going next. Thank you for listening to After the Quiet. Please remember to subscribe to this podcast and share it with others who might need to hear my story. And also join me on Instagram at after.the.quiet. If you recognize parts of my story in your own, please reach out to someone who can give you support, or look for that support in your community. You are not weak for needing help. You are human. Your voice deserves to be heard.